Going to be about 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches shorter on the one handle, but it saves me from having to buy another handle. So this is working out really nice. You can see it now better date. But don't have to bend over, just small little table. Welcome to Time by the Tent, another weekend here up at the land. Starting off the weekend on a rainy note. Big storms rolled through this morning and we'll taper off here shortly. Well, the outdoor activities, the tree hanging, or the tree stand hanging, and potentially the blind putting up is going to be pushed over till tomorrow. Some things I can do around the tent here. Say hi to everybody.
Hi everybody. So,
we ate on the way up here because we knew that we weren't going to be able to get a fire going in order to cook. So stopped at a couple yard sales, got some free magazines, do a little additional work on the magazine rack. I'm going to put little protective barriers on each shelf to keep the moisture from wicking up inside of the paper of the magazine. So I got that to do, and just kind of hang out with us and we'll see what we can get done. And you do have, well, it's hard to see here, blackout hunting blind chair. So this is the blackout 360 swivel chair for Holly's blind. We'll get that opened up, see how that looks. This was a poster that I hung up that I had. This is from one of the magazines that I got from the thrift store. Shows all the calibers of shotguns on one side, all the calibers of rifles on the other side, and even the big ones, the elephant guns, or the 458 Winchester mag, the 416 Rigby, those type of things. So just a nice little poster to have. Found the frame at Goodwill for a fraction of like $3.99, something like that. So it fits really nice and looks good. All right, what do you think?
I like the chair. It's a little bit tall, but it's going to sink into the ground, so it'll make up for it. And then we're going to take some foam that we just have in the attic from something and kind of bring the back closer to me.
So at least whenever you can lean forward, not have to fight to get
lean
up.
Back.
No, I mean, if to take a shot, you don't have to fight to get up and work around. Yeah.
I'd rather have it be a little bit taller than too low.
Yeah. You can always scoot back if you wanted to.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so our postal digger cracked when Joey was digging a hole for the
tent support.
And now he's repairing it for what he needs.
It's a drill bit's a size too big, but I can modify it and make it work for what little bit I dig holes for. Just going to be about 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches shorter on the one handle, but it saves me from having to buy another handle. And if it breaks again, then we'll buy another handle and go from there. But I can make it work for what I need now.
And then Joey got a fire started here. The rain let up.
That should work for what I need, and if it breaks again, we'll fix it. But that's 3 inches difference. Much better than going and having to buy a new handle for whatever that cost. So modification is fixed. I can continue to dig the tent supports. It's posts that I'm putting on either quadrant, each side of the tent, on opposite ends. When we put that A-frame tarp over top of it to keep the pressure off the tent frame and on these posts. So that was something I'm doing now because I was doing that during muzzleloader season last winter when it was 13 degrees outside, chiseling in the ground, trying to get posts in the ground. This is going to be much easier to do it now. Still lightly raining and very muggy, but I did get another job done. This is not relevant to anybody but us because none of you are doing what we're doing, leaving a double, well, first of all, connecting two wall tents together and leaving it up over winter. As we had last year, I've got these posts here, what I cut last week, brought over. These are down limbs from the ice storm back in February. I've buried them in the ground, cut the lip off of the top, and then screwed tennis balls on top of them. We acquired these tennis balls for free, as we have many of the items on this property. I've got 3 on that side, and I've got 2 back there. If you're unfamiliar with this cable that's wrapped in a hose, there is a 40 by 40 foot 10 mil tarp, which is still there, that has not gotten folded up, but has captured a lot of rainwater in order for us to, in order for me to shower over the summer. As the cable is not true to the tent because we don't have trees on both ends straight on, it goes at an angle, so A-frame, that tarp goes and splits, and because of the angle, there's more pressure on the back portion of the tent there, and there's more pressure on the front portion of the tent here. Now, as the tarp gains weight, it'll hit the tennis balls. The tarp will run on these tennis balls, and there'll be kind of a valley here, but I've got bracing on both sides of the front. I've got bracing in multiple places in the tent, like right here. I got bracing there. I got bracing there that notches up into the framework. So it worked well last year. We had this historic ice storm that dumped about a ½ inch of ice on everything in the northern portions of Wisconsin. Devastated a lot of stuff, but the tent with that tarp did exactly what we wanted it to. It held up and shedded some of the material. So that is done. As I said earlier, I did this last year under the tarp when it was 13 degrees, when I should have been out hunting during muzzleloader camp. So this is all done. Happy with it. And it's one less step I have to do when it's time to close everything up for the winter, or mid-December, and then come back in mid-March. Okay, so I got this wrote there so I know. Now, back on the farm, we had a 1-gallon glass jar, and still to this day, I don't know, it's like one of them apple cider jars, jugs, and we always used it for, we mixed one of these 50-to-1 in the gallon for chainsaws and weed eaters, and don't know where we got it, but that's always the way it's done. Now I'm just going to mix the plastic and pour it back in the jug here. Back in high school in algebra half, which I wasn't very good at, Mr. Jackson's class, he had, you know, doing formulations or whatever you call those problems, and he said if you had a 2.5-gallon container and you had, you know, how would you figure the mixture of one of these to a 2.5, and how many of these and all this other stuff? It was some kind of question like that. And I said, and he called on me, and I said, well, if you just get a 1-gallon jug and you mix 1 bottle in the 1 gallon, it's very easy. That was not the right answer. So I'm going to mix the gas in here and do it my way, the 1 gallon for the 1 bottle, and put it in the gas canister and call it good. So this caddy I made early in the spring, these are just empty barbecue sauce bottles, and I have 2 for gas and 2 for oil, and boy, that makes it really quick. Instead of having to fight with this to fill it up and all that, I can just fill these up, and I can get about 4 tankfuls out of the 2, and I can move quick. And then days like this when it's raining and I can't do anything else, I can top the bottles off. And just made this little caddy out of scrap wood that on the way up to the property, there's a business that every now and then will have a big giant bin out in front that says free wood. That's where I got this. And then the hose was scrap from the cable. So I just fill them up and away we go. So working on that gas there, anytime I work with the chainsaw or whatever, I got to go on the ground with it. So I'm going to take this old pallet that I had made as a shoe rack for Holly years back. Now she's got a different unit for that that job. Going to take the top piece off. I got some legs there. Don't need much, enough to set the chainsaw on and lean the weed eater against, and that should be fine. I'll get some limbs to do some cross bracing, and shouldn't take long for me to make this, and it'll be portable enough that I can get it out of the way when I put the tarp up. Just set it over wherever, but I think this would be a little addition. That's where I'm at so far. Instead of putting them on the inside, because that was going to be too narrow, I'm putting them on the outside. I've got to wait for my stuff to charge. I do need to have a little more support on that one. This one's good, but that'd be a good waist-high table. But I gotta wait for things to charge up again, and then I'll reattach those screws there, cut those down, and then I'll see if I need any cross bracing.
All right, so cooking some dinner here.
We were gonna smoke meat.
We were gonna smoke meat, but then it rained, and we could have smoked it in the rain, but I don't think Joey really wanted to deal with it. So we got some turkey kielbasa, potatoes, and homegrown green beans with pecans.
So I got it made. I'm not going to use bracing. It's just, you know, it's level. I just kind of eyeballed everything. Set the chainsaw up there, fuel it up, lay the weed eater over top on it. So just had a little pallet that was left over and some logs, and worked quite well for a little outdoor table. 36 inches high is what the legs are, and then you just add a little bit for the pallet. One thing we didn't talk about a couple of weeks ago, whenever you were up here, was the new headboard that I built 2 weeks before that.
Yeah, I like it. It's nice.
Yeah, I put two half-inch steel black pipe, 3 foot in the ground and 3.5 foot in the ground, 3.5 foot above, and then I notched it into the logs, and then I put a blocker behind it, and then all that was free. And then this is plywood and handrails. And so, yeah, you can lean against it and nothing falls behind it.
More pillows.
So this is working out really nice. You can see it now better in date. But don't have to bend over. Just small little table. Well, I don't know how long it's going to last, but it'll last long enough. Good morning, by the way. Tell everybody good morning.
Good morning.
We're getting the breakfast going. Then I'm going to go down. I did some blackberry checking this morning when I got up. There's a patch on the property that there's a decent amount, not a whole lot, but there's a good chunk of berries I'll go pick. And then come back and cut the DVD tower for the tent and the house. Then you're going to shoot your bow. I'm going to put the blind up. If I have time, I'm going to put the deer stand up. So got the morning and early afternoon filled, but probably only get about half of that done because you've seen how time works. What are we having for breakfast?
Food.
There you go. Off to pick some blackberries in a patch on our property that a little earlier than what years past have shown. Usually it's around the Labor Day weekend, but I should be able to get a decent little quantity. I've got a large metal coffee can I've converted into a berry picking apparatus, so I can use both hands to pick and make it go quicker. I'll show you the patch when I get there. Here is the berry picking patch. You can see kind of an open pocket here. A lot of berries in through here. Not a large quantity, and I mean, there's a decent amount here, so I'll see what I can get picked. Well, the quantity just wasn't there. Based on what I remember in video last year, there was, you could just stand there and capture handfuls at a time. The berry plants just don't exist there like they did last year, and we're only about 3 weeks out from Labor Day and I don't see any berries on the plant, so might be a bust for this year, but had to go look and pick what I could. Since berry picking was kind of a bust, I went and harvested some logs and did fairly better. These are more DVD VHS towers. That one there is for the tent, And that one is an extra one. Since I was cutting, I wanted a longer one, and that was only a good part out of the log I was cutting, and this one be for the house. So I will get those trimmed up and cut next week and figure out how to get this one in the tent. May have to put a little bracing on it or attach it to one of the side poles, but that'll be fine. I've got a number of VHS and DVDs that will come up here, so I'll figure all that out next week. But they're here, so that's the hardest part. And then like on this here, I'll probably clean a little bit of that off, but still get a pretty good pocket in there for this is that big tooth aspen. It's got a really sweet smell to it. This has been aged been on the ground for a number of years, but it's light. It's really light. It's a if that was oak, there'd be no way I could carry that up. But that I threw on my shoulder, light as a straw bale. Smoking venison, flat steak, and tenderloins. Doing really good. The flat steak is still cooking. The tenderloins are seasoned and just about ready. With the smaller cuts of meat, it doesn't take 6, 8, 12, 14 hours. A couple of hours. I used to marinate it, or I used to brine it in a vinegar, apple cider vinegar, sugar mixture with water, but cannot tell the difference between the brine and the unbrined after you smoke it, so we're not wasting time smoking or brining it. But I put barbecue sauces, hot hickory brown sugar on the tenderloins, and then I'll do this barbecue peach bourbon on what I've got left of it on the flat steak. Lunch.
Okay, so for lunch we're having this delicious smoked venison. It's a beautiful smoke ring situation.
You just shot your bow. We didn't film any of that.
I just sighted in my crossbow, at 20 yards. And for breakfast we just had eggs and hash browns, so we didn't really film that. So we're just going to have this with some chips, because we don't want to make baked beans, and that's okay. But it's a beautiful day.
That's really tender.
It's really tender.
Yeah. So last episode I built this magazine rack, and I pulled the magazines off because these were wet logs. They haven't aged, and they were sucking up into the magazines and the catalogs. So I didn't want to do that. So I came back and I put plastic like off a old kitty litter bag. We've got a cat, we've got kitty litter. So I cut them in a specific size, and I don't know if you can see that, but like there's a lot of moisture that has built up between the plastic and the wood because it's still drying. So it keeps the magazines from becoming moist and wet. So it works out really well. I didn't want to let it age, so I wanted to use it right away. So this could be done with an aged log, piece of pine, be perfectly fine. So very happy with it. These are the ones that I got yesterday at a yard sale. 9 of them for nothing, from 1988 and 1989 Field and Stream. So something fun I'm very proud of. All right, so we got the chair and the blind. This is a tie weed blind that we bought, and I'm going to go out in the woods and we're going to get it put up. I'm going to get it put up, get it staked down, do everything that needs to be done, and then we'll finalize the internal aspect of it in a couple of weeks before season. But I want to get it out there, and so it starts to become custom to the animals, the deer seeing it. That's where the deer blind's going to go. Old logging road, heavy trail or a wide trail that I cut in about a month ago. Gonna have a shot here, and then need to clear that out there because there might be a shooting opportunity there. So I'll get this thing popped up and see how it looks. Alrighty, got it up. Got it in the position that I want it. I'll come out in a couple of weeks and take a look, and we'll finalize everything. But you've got deer coming down this trail, and then I've cut a shooting lane because they like to go to the left to the right. So there's a couple of different positions here, probably like right where you're sitting. They're going to come down, and then that's where you're going to get your shot. It would be probably a 1/4-2 shot, but if done right, it will get both lungs and or the heart. So, and then if they cross over right there, I'm thinking about clearing a spot this way too. I don't know that they're going to come through there. I know nothing has come behind. I've got the blackout there, but based on what the trail cameras is showing, which is right up there, this is kind of what we're looking at. And it can always be adjusted. We can move it, but this is a good starting point. Also with this blackout chair, it was just creak, 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 creak. And finally I figured out in these seams here is where it was scratching back and forth and popping and cracking. So I put some oil in that, and it's taken all the noise out, so that's good. Don't have to return that chair, so got that fixed. Well, that will do it for another weekend here up at the land. Thank you so much for those 4 of you that made it this far. Let's put blind, B-L-I-N-D, in the comments below. Let me know you made it this far, since we did get the deer blind put up. Another several things knocked off the endless list of want to get done stuff. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you then.